Hey guys, so today I wanted to take a few minutes and talk to you about meditation. And I don't know about you, but there's been an awful lot of buzz about meditation, particularly in the last couple of years, I feel. Every article I read with an entrepreneur or someone who is ultra successful seems to mention meditation as a part of their morning routine. It's obviously a huge part of practicing yoga in a lot of cases, but mindfulness meditation in and of itself is a practice that a lot of people absolutely swear by in terms of keeping them grounded, starting their day off right, keeping them on track, helping to keep them focused, helping to relieve tension and anxiety. There are a whole host of things that people claim meditation can really help with in your personal life, your personal happiness. So for me, I had been reading about it and curious about it and thinking about it for a long time. But about 6 months ago, I would say I hit my point where I said, okay, I have to figure this out. I have to try this. I have to see what this is all about. But my impression of meditation at the time was this is a practice where people are able to sit and not think about anything, abandon their thoughts, leave their worries behind, and just sit in peace and quiet, and stop letting their minds take control of thinking about a million different things all at once. And I had no idea how to do that, like zero. I'm a person whose mind is racing all the time in a million different directions. So for me, it felt super intimidating and confusing. And I thought, where do you even start if you want to do this and make it a practice that is a part of your daily life? So I reached out to a friend who practices meditation regularly, and she suggested a few apps for me to check out that really specialize in guided meditations. So I downloaded this app called Calm, like keep calm and meditate. And I'll just throw this out there. I am not advertising for them. I am not being paid by them to make this video. I actually reached out to them to ask if they would give me some kind of discount code for people or if they had any sort of affiliate marketing program, and they never responded. So, womp, womp, womp. But I still love the app. I have found it extremely helpful in learning about meditation and incorporating the practice into my morning routine. And so I'm going to recommend it anyway because it's been really helpful to me. So basically, the free version will give you all sorts of introductory guided meditations. They start at around 10 minutes, and the first couple minutes is some sort of explanation about the practice of mindfulness, the practice of meditation, how to incorporate it into your life. You can choose all sorts of ambient noises that will play in the background for the remainder of the meditation. And then it usually ends with some sort of imparting lesson or something to try and carry with you for the rest of that day. So the first thing that I learned when I started using this app was meditation is not at all what I thought it was. So that really for me was the first part of taking the intimidation factor out of the equation. It is not some magic thing that's going to erase your thoughts and immediately cure all of your worries, unfortunately. But really, it is the practice of mindfulness and becoming aware of your thoughts and the different directions that they're pulling you in at any given moment. And that really allows you to be a lot less harsh on yourself, especially when you're first starting out. Because if you're sitting there, you're trying to meditate, you're trying to breathe, and your mind is wandering, you might think, oh my gosh, I'm not doing this right. I don't know what I'm doing. But really, the key is to notice that that is happening and then try and bring yourself back to a state of, I'm focusing on my breathing, I'm focusing on myself right now, and this is something that I can think about later. And that practice of more consciously noticing and taking control of your thoughts rather than allowing them to control you is one of the biggest things that I have been able to notice myself getting better and better at as I've been practicing this every morning. And it really does change the way that you go about your day, and it allows you the ability to take a step back and hit reset at any given moment when you feel like you're about to kind of spin off your axis a little bit. So something that the meditation I followed this morning, for example, talked about was focus and our inability as humans to focus on as many things as our society sort of demands. And a great way to notice this is when you find yourself having a hard time making even the simplest decisions. So this literally happened to me this morning. At about 7:29, I noticed that it was 7:29, and in order to meet up with a friend to walk our dogs on the beach, I need to leave at 7:30 to meet her. And time had gotten away from me. The morning was feeling like it was going a little bit off track, and in that moment, I was like, oh my God, I have to leave right this minute if I want to meet her on time. And I felt so overwhelmed by trying to make the decision whether to just jump in the car and go or not that I didn't do it, and I found myself frustrated. And I feel like this is probably something a lot of you can relate to because it happens to us all the time when we allow ourselves to get overwhelmed by outside demands instead of taking control of what we're going to focus on and what we're going to prioritize at any given moment. So that's been a huge, huge thing for me, is being able to notice when that is happening, because that allows you to turn it around and prevents it from setting the tone in a negative direction for the rest of your day. So previously, before I had some of the skills that I've now built up, that might have thrown my whole day off and just been one of those days that I'm like, I just don't want to do life today because everything tends to be sort of a domino effect. But today, I literally thought, you know what? I haven't done my meditation yet. I'm going to have a cup of coffee, do a meditation, just breathe. Nothing is going to happen if I make it to walk the dog at the beach or not. The world is not going to end. He's not going to hate me. There are plenty of other days that we can do this. Let me take a few moments for myself, gather myself, and move on with my day. So that is something that I have really noticed as I've practiced more and more. I've been able to notice my thought patterns, how they are or are not affecting me, and how I can sort of take back the reins and not allow it to derail the rest of whatever I have going on. So I have really, like I said, I've noticed a huge difference. A lot of people that I've talked to that have been meditating for years say that it is something that they can't imagine living without. And again, the app makes it really helpful just to have something to follow along to. Eventually, the goal is to be able to do it at any moment. So if you're at work, if you are on the subway, if you are sitting in traffic, if you are trying to complete a big project or do a paper or do some kind of homework, or even if you're making dinner and you're frustrated because you're spending your time doing that and not having time to do the 10 other things that you really wanted to do before bed. The goal is to be able to take a step back in any of those scenarios and focus on your breathing. There's no exact science to it, but just to harness your thoughts and say, I notice that I'm thinking this. I'm not going to let that control me, and here is how I'm going to redirect this situation. So I wanted to make the recommendation, again, that the name of the app is Calm. They have all sorts of different 5 or 7 day sequences that are focused on different things. So if you're really struggling with a lot of stress and anxiety, they have a series for that. They have a series for focus. They have general daily meditations. Each day they feature something new. So today is World Peace Day, I think, International World Peace Day. And so the meditation was focused on how do you send love out into the world and make an impact on a personal level in your day-to-day life. And it's just little messages that you can take with you and incorporate. And hopefully you will see an improvement from it, but also the other people around you that are a part of your life will benefit from it as well. And the other thing that I really love about the app, which we have used and I have found surprisingly effective, is they have something called sleep stories. So if there's anyone out there that has trouble falling asleep at night, it may sound kind of silly, but it is extremely effective and totally awesome. So it's bedtime stories for adults, basically. They're stories read by narrators who have very calming, very tranquil voices. They typically don't have a ton of detail in terms of plot that you need to follow. And they're very just easygoing, lighthearted stories about far out places in the world, or cute little towns, or people doing random jobs and talking about their daily life. And I started, every once in a while I have a hard time falling asleep, but my husband actually really struggles with falling asleep at night. So I discovered this feature. I started playing these stories at night. I am not kidding. I have never heard a full version of any of the stories, because we fall asleep guaranteed in the first 10, 15 minutes max. And that is really refreshing. So that's another thing that I just wanted to throw out into the world. And if it's something that you haven't discovered yet, definitely check it out, because it's been great for us and I'm going to continue using it. And hopefully one day I'll get the hang of this where I don't even need the guidance, but it's definitely something that you need to practice, as with anything in life. So check out the app if you are curious about meditation, if it's something that you would like to try and you don't know where to start. I'm sure there are tons of other apps and maybe even other helpful websites out there too. So if you have a different app or a different program that you follow that you have really enjoyed or you have found really helpful, leave it in the comments, because sharing is caring, and maybe some of you won't love Calm like I do, but someone else will suggest something that will work better for you. So let's all be more mindful, more at peace with our own thoughts. Just keep breathing, just keep breathing, just keep breathing.